I have literally tested hundreds of lenses over the years, and I feel like I've been on this journey of finding interesting lenses that just add some spice to videos. It's almost like I've been like craving this like certain weird look because most lenses are just kind of boring. And so here are 5 weird lenses that I think you will love. This one might be my favorite, although this one is, well, actually, these are all really cool. Okay, so the first one is super random. This is a Sony 10 to 18 mil. I've talked about this one before, but I still feel like most people don't know about it. It is a crop sensor lens, so it's not supposed to go on a full frame camera, but it can go on a full frame camera. All right, I thought this would be a good time to test out some of these lenses. Got Isaac here. He's my resident car guy. You guys aren't gonna believe what I got. They're gonna be surprised, right?
Oh my goodness, you guys don't even know yet.
You guys don't even know. It's gonna be insane.
Big reveal. 2, 1.
It's this one.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the same. Pumped. I know it's the same, but the red light back here is just full like stormtrooper, black, white, red. I don't know. It just looks good. Is it just me or
no,
it looks cool. Good?
I mean, I was gonna get one. I decided not to because of inflation and everything.
All you have to do is essentially go to about like 13 mil, and now we don't have any of that barrel, and so we can go from about 13 to 18 with this lens and get this really cool super wide angle lens with autofocus. It's not crazy expensive, super lightweight, great for vlogging, a really cool just like sense of presence, like we the audience get to be there with you. Comes with 2 lens holders. So anytime you can place your lenses into the lens holders. Got many cameras on this car also. New camera on the front, which is great. Well, check this out. Front camera. There you go. That was a great view. That was really beautiful. Beautiful. That was art.
I thought it was higher up, but then I just kept going down.
Yeah, this is the new ride. Okay. For the kids. Back monitor with 2 Bluetooth headsets you can plug into there. So yeah, this is the first lens. This is the Sony, what is this? The 10 to 18. Technically not supposed to go on a full frame camera, but if we go just to like, I don't know, like 13, 14 mil to be safe, when you have the standard stabilization, you can use it totally fine. There's no vignetting or anything, and so you still have from 14 to 16, and it's a very small lens, really good for this stuff. And then you can get that like cool kind of music video.
Went to the club and what we got.
Yeah, this is an interesting lens. It's affordable. It's a really cool lens. One of the best vlogging lenses. This thing's tiny. There you go. Look how small that thing is. I don't know if you guys can see it in the mirror there. Super small, lightweight. It is an f4, so that's a little bit of a downside, but this is like, if you want a small vlogging setup that you can just toss anywhere, this is incredible. This is the one thing I don't like about this new Tesla is this thing. I don't know. That's not really for me. I would rather have some sort of tactile buttons. All right, let's roll. I just think this is a very interesting lens and not enough people know about it. It is an f4, so it's not gonna be like crazy shallow depth of field or anything like that, but this is a really cool look. If you need an interesting look that kind of doubles for, you know, vlogging and all that stuff too, this is a great lens. Check it out. Oh, wait, I just realized. I'm gonna do this for you guys. Unboxed. Okay, I think this lens might be the most interesting of the bunch. This is a Petzval 55mm Mark II from Lomography. It's an f1.7 lens. If you want crazy swirly bokeh, like the complete opposite of a nice, beautiful modern lens like I'm using right now, Petzval lenses are the way to go. These things are nuts. The look is unlike anything you've seen before. And actually, I guess you have maybe seen it more recently, because there are a lot of cinematographers using these Petzval lenses right now. For example, they use it a lot on the movie Poor Things. I've seen it used on a bunch of commercials and movies. And this is probably the easiest one to use. It's really small and lightweight. It is manual focus, so you're not gonna get autofocus. Like I said, it's f1.7, which is really nice. And then you can actually control the amount of that crazy swirly bokeh look. And I'm not gonna go into the physics of how this actually works. There's actually a really great video by Studio Binder on how the Petzval lens kind of works and where it came from. But this is one of the most interesting lenses to me right now. If you want a really different kind of look for your story or music video or whatever, this is one of the lenses that you should be looking at, and it's quite affordable. I think it's like around $500 US, so it's not like crazy expensive or anything. You don't get autofocus, so yeah, that's gonna be annoying, and there aren't any like gears or anything for focus or anything like that on this, so that's a little bit of a bummer. Now, the thing that's kind of been a problem with these Petzval lenses, from what I've seen, is that it's virtually impossible to find one that is like wider. They're all like 55 or 50 mil, that kind of thing. Kind of like the Helios 442 is a 58 mil. But Lomography actually now has, I think it's an 80 mil, a 55 mil, and a 35 mil, which I pre-ordered because I'm very interested in having a wider lens and then getting some of that really cool swirly bokeh effect. I don't know, I've been saying this for a while. I think a lot of lenses are just very boring. They're just all perfect, clean, and clinical, and they look exactly the same. And so to me, this is like an antidote right now to getting some character. Lens manufacturers, give us some lenses with like character, a look, something really interesting. Now, because I'm talking about the Petzval, I feel like I also do have to mention the Helios 442. So if you don't know, this is like a super vintage lens, probably the most popular vintage lens right now, because it gives us some of those same characteristics as a Petzval lens, that swirly bokeh. It has this nice vintage feel, it's soft. They have gone up in price a little bit, but they are very affordable. Now, do some research on which one to get. There are many different versions, and some of them are better than others. I'm pretty sure this marking that I have right now, I did research, I think this is like the best one you can get. Now, maybe the other ones might fit your needs better, maybe they're wilder. But yeah, this lens is one of those lenses, just like very affordable, easy to grab. It is manual focus, but it is just a really cool look. Again, an antidote to just like those perfect, clean, clinical lenses. So yeah, I had to mention this because I think this one is so interesting. This is kind of like the even more budget friendly / maybe more usable in some ways, because it's not quite as wild as this thing. I used to think that the Helios 442 look was like wild, really crazy, but after using this Petzval lens, this feels very, very tame in comparison. Actually, I forgot to mention, I think one of the guys that's been using this lens, or maybe the 80 mil or 85 mil or whatever it is the guy that's shooting the Oasis tour kind of BTS. I don't know if you guys have seen those videos. They're really well done, and they have some crazy shots with this swirly bokeh. I'm pretty sure that's shot on these guys. You think that's gonna be good? I hope so. We'll find out. Hit record.
Get in the car. Sorry.
Now, one of my favorite weird lenses that I've found over the last couple of years is this Laowa 10 mil f2.8 full frame 0D or whatever lens. Of course, there's still distortion, but this lens is wild. 10 mil is super wide. The look you get from this lens is very distinct. And because it has autofocus, you can get this crazy floaty look that is very hard to replicate. I actually did that for my little rollerblade doc I filmed in New York City of this pro rollerblader. I was able to get so close to him without any gimbal or anything, because I would not have been able to keep up with him on a gimbal. The movements, this lens allowed me to get shots that I don't know if are possible in any other way. I also saw Danny Gevirtz, incredible filmmaker, use this lens in his recent short film, which was incredible, insane. Go and check it out. He didn't use it for movement, but just the perspectives that he was getting. Actually, I think that's the first time I've seen Danny use really wide lenses, and I loved it. I love wide lenses. This has been one of those lenses when I got it, I'm like, this is the thing I've been looking for. This is incredible. It serves a purpose. There's a lot of lenses that like you might think like are weird and cool and then you just never use. This lens is one of those lenses that will solve problems for you. You will be able to get shots that you weren't able to get before, and it's just a really, really cool look. Highly recommend checking out this lens. And then lastly, this is as weird as it gets when you look at it. This is the Extract probe lens from DZO. It's an 18 to 28 mil zoom. So it is a macro lens that's a zoom, and it is pretty fast. It's a T8. A lot of these like probe lenses in the past have been like T14 or something like that. And I used to think that these probe lenses are made in this shape in order to kind of like, for physics reasons, like it has to be like this. But this is for a reason. This isn't just like, I used to think that this is like, oh, this is how you have to do it to make a lens that's a macro lens and does this stuff. No, this is done on purpose so that you can put this in places. Not like that. You can film in tight spaces that you couldn't normally film in. And so this is actually done on purpose that you could like, come on. Come on, guys. Let's simulate this. Imagine this, and I have to get my camera to go through in between these lenses. I can't do it. This does not fit. It's not possible. These probe lenses, you can actually get the lens into places that you normally couldn't get them into and do movements that aren't possible otherwise. So that's why these probe lenses exist. A lot of like food filmmaker photographers, when they're doing like those commercials and stuff, they're using these lenses, but these are actually way more versatile than you think. My favorite types of shots with these lenses are the ones where it starts macro on something and then moves out to a wider shot, and you don't even really realize that like, oh, we just went from a macro shot that's impossible to this wide shot. Like, that look is super cool, and I like this Extract because it is so wide and because it's a zoom. I think it might have been actually kind of cool. You can do that without a probe lens.
I can do a lot of things with a probe lens.
18 to 28 mil, that's a really, really interesting look. And I think having a wide macro lens is much more interesting than like 100 mil macro. It's way more versatile. You can get really interesting looks, and you can get these like cool, like kind of like POV shots, because you can get really close to something. So you can have that be macro and then have things in the background. This is one of those weird lenses that is very, very weird. You could even vlog on this. I have done that. But again, it solves problems of shots that wouldn't otherwise be possible because you need, you know, a probe lens to get through these spaces, or you need to go from really macro to a wide shot. But also, it's just a really interesting, weird look. I mean weird in a good sense. I like these like interesting shots of like, whoa, how did they do that? This probe lens from DZO is one of my weird but cool lenses. These are the 5 weird lenses that I've kind of like picked as like the best weird lenses right now. That could change, but right now these are my favorites, and I highly recommend checking out. None of them are like crazy, although actually I don't know how much this one costs. None of these other ones are crazy expensive. They're like decently affordable, and I like that, because weird lenses, you're not going to be using them all the time, and so you don't want to be spending a ton of money for a lens that you can't use all the time. But yeah, if you want to spice up your videos, get some really, really interesting looks, highly recommend these lenses. Let me know if you have any other suggestions for weird, cool lenses that you have been using lately. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.